Alright, here we go with part 2. I was going to do a little splatter. I actually started doing the... whoop. Let me get that real quick. I actually started laying in the black, the heavy blacks already, the acrylics. So what I'm going to show you right now is how I do the splatter. A lot of people do it with a toothbrush. I do as well, but I do it another way as well. That's where I load up the paintbrush with paint. Give it a little, let's see if we can give it a little tap on my finger, just to make sure that the dots are coming off the right size. And then I kind of hit it over the piece here, just tapping it on my finger, moving it around. It's not as a dramatic array of dots going out like with a toothbrush. You have a little bit more control. I don't think there's really any way to really control how the splatter goes on this. But the dots come off a lot smaller. Alright, so anyway, there's that. That's just the black end of it. So now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll finish doing the darkest of the darks here for my reference, using the same brush. This is a number 9 sable hair brush, so it's kind of thick. I can actually get in there and do some work. The only problem with using such a big brush for this is that I tend to lay it on a little thick and the paper buckles on me, so when I'm done with this I'll have to wet the back side of the paper and weight it down so that it dries flat. I've already got a little down in this area, a little bit of a buckle in the paper, but like I said, that's not a big deal. Just if you want to avoid that, go with thinner coats, maybe a smaller brush to do this. I'm just going to take it right up to the edge where my pencil lines start, and then I'll take a smaller brush, and I'll hit that hairline a little nicer. I'm going to leave some pencil showing through on this so that it gets a little hair strand texture going on.
Now come closer. I want to share some of my telekinetic wisdom.
You can see I'm not really a brush painter, so there's no real rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. I'm just kind of doing it. Just kind of filling it in. It'll dry. The paint is it's already reduced for the airbrush, so there's not going to be a lot of texture to it. Like going with the tube acrylics. I tend to use this stuff more like watercolor, but it works nice. I like it. It's a nice, good, heavy pigment anyway, so it covers really well. And it's a little warm in here. I'm sticking to everything on the darn table. I find it's always a good idea not to get too carried away with painting where you think shadows should go. Especially when you're working from photo reference, the photo reference will guide you. Just use that as your map to where you're going to lay your shadows down, and that way you end up with a pretty good representation of what you started out painting. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it there, but it's getting a a little bulge. Let me see if I can get that up a little bit. No. Oh yeah, there. Maybe you can see there's like a little bulge going on in the paper from laying it on a little too heavy. I'm gonna let that dry just a second. I'm gonna do a little plug on myself. I've been an airbrush artist for about 30 years or so, 31 years, and I've been in a couple of magazines, and it's been a while since I've done anything for a magazine. This is kind of minor. I didn't actually do a piece for the magazine, but after 31 years of airbrushing T-shirts, I got a pretty good idea of what to do and what not to do. So the new issue came out of Airbrush Action, and I'd submitted a little tip on